Queens of business understand that we're not actually building a business. We are, in fact, building a world. Now, this mindset shift is so critical when it comes to building a jewel business, a specific type of company that delivers cash, influence, and autonomy. Jewel businesses are the very types of businesses that we coach our clients to create. In this episode, I'm going to break down how you can shift from focusing on building a business to focusing on building a world. And I'm also going to tell you why the world's most successful companies don't build businesses, but actually build worlds. Let's dive in. So here's the question. In a world where the rules of business have been written by men, how do women entrepreneurs like us, women who want to make millions of dollars and impact millions of lives, how do we create enormous success on our terms? That's the question, and this show explores the answers. Welcome to Power Presence Position. I'm your host, Eleanor Beaton, and I'm on a mission to double the number of women entrepreneurs who generate over $1 million per year in annual revenue. I'm an award-winning entrepreneur, author, and leadership coach. I'm a wife, mom of 2 boys, and I'm the CEO of a 7-figure business. Stick around because on this show, you'll learn how to think, communicate, and get paid like a 7-figure CEO. Let's go. Hello, my fierce friend. Welcome back to Power Presence Position, episode 445. Don't build a business, build a world. Now, before I get into the meat of today's episode, I want to give a bit of a shout out to our listeners. I haven't done that in a little while. For those of you who take the time to go and leave this show a review on iTunes, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you for doing that. It's a gift, actually, and I feel joyful when I see those reviews. This one is from Megan Podcasting You. She says, "So glad I found this podcast. Eleanor does such a good job covering a variety of topics. She is so inspiring, and the fact that she uses her voice to inspire other women is reason enough to listen to this show. I would recommend the show to anyone." Thanks, Megan. That's amazing. I so appreciate that. I appreciate it greatly. Okay. So if you haven't listened to episode 444 called How to Build a Jewel Business, I suggest that you make time after you finish this episode to listen to that one. Because in episode 444, I unveiled the concept of the jewel business. And this is a vision for entrepreneurial growth for women entrepreneurs. And it really applies the 30-30-30 concept to deliver CIA, cash, influence, and autonomy. So let me give you the Coles notes. Over a decade of working with women entrepreneurs, working closely with women entrepreneurs to help them accomplish their goals has actually revealed a lot to me about what the goals of women entrepreneurs are. And of course, all of us are different, and we certainly have our unique visions for our company, our unique aspirations, desires, goals, and intentions. But I have seen time and again that many of those specific goals can be placed into 3 core buckets, and those buckets are cash, influence, and autonomy. We want money. So we don't want to work just to give ourselves a meager paycheck. We want our businesses to produce a great salary for us as senior executives in the companies. And we also want those businesses to produce profit that we can use. We can direct that money to charity. We can direct that money to investing in female ventures. We can direct that money to our own personal stash. We want to build financial fortresses, so we want cash. But that's not enough for us because we're women and we're extra. We're SAFIs, self-actualized female innovators. We are extra. It's not just the money, right? The money, that is, if it were just about the money, that would be basically the guy-centric version of entrepreneurial growth. That is great. It's fine. And it's dominated business growth conversations. But as more and more women are entering the business world, we are starting to shape what the narrative success looks like. So it's not just cash, it is also influence. I challenge you to find a modern woman entrepreneur who does not care deeply about making an impact and making a difference. And I'm not talking about coming up with all kinds of bright, shiny objects to distract yourselves. I'm not talking about tons of different initiatives that take you away from your core business, although it could be that. I'm talking about the fact that for many women entrepreneurs, impact is baked into the actual business model. Women are starting businesses faster than ever before at anywhere from 2 to 5 times the national average for all business owners. And many of the companies that we are starting have a social impact, or they are looking at, baked into the business model is the concept of making people's lives meaningfully better. That's influence. And also, we don't necessarily just want to kind of do it. We want to make sure that our voices are shaping our industry, are advancing our industry. That's influence too, right? So cash, influence, and then finally autonomy. So here's the thing. I detest the concept of work-life balance because it's just another thing for women to get right and to get perfect. And whoever is in perfect balance, right? I love the concept of autonomy. We want autonomy, the ability to have our priorities and be able to attend to those priorities in a way that makes sense for us. So that means in order to have priorities and to attend to them, you need time and energy. And that's where the autonomy comes in. Freedom. Okay, so cash, influence, and autonomy. That's what we want. And so as more and more women are starting businesses, as we are clearly laying out, these are the things we want: cash, influence, and autonomy. And P.S. on this show, if you're a new listener, welcome. My name's Eleanor Beaton. I'm the founder of Safi Media. We're on a mission to double the number of women entrepreneurs who generate over 7 figures in revenue. And really, in all of the coaching work that we do and the education work that we do, we are all about cash, influence, and autonomy, right? So if you only are here to make cash, P.S., that's totally fine. I am not here to judge anybody's ambition. I think it's all great. This is probably not the podcast for you because we are all about cash, influence, and autonomy. We are here to help the women entrepreneurs who want to make mad money, who want to impact the world and really advance, make meaningful contributions to their industries, advance their industries. And we're also here for the women entrepreneurs who want autonomy, right? We believe that when women, Virginia Woolf wrote about that in order for a woman to write, she needs money and a room of her own. She wasn't just talking about writing in a journal, though it could be that. If you are here to really think, to come up with ideas, to create a vision for yourself and your business, and to come up with creative ideas for how to make that vision real through strategy and tactics, you need autonomy, right? Without that, you're just going to follow somebody else's formula. So we are here for cash, influence, and autonomy, and all of the work that we do is based on that. So we know that's what women want. We know that's what we're coaching women to accomplish, and there are tools and milestones and that kind of thing to get there. But what we have unveiled, and we started last week, was really our concept for the type of business that delivers consistently cash, influence, and autonomy. And we call that a jewel business. And the jewel business at its heart is the intention that you are creating a company that delivers 30% year-over-year growth, 30% approximately profit margin, and 30% open time for the founder. That means that 30% of your time, if you worked 40 hours a week, 30% of that time is free from delivery. So that's the time that you have to think, to plan, to create. So it's not done only on Sunday morning, that you have proper time to do those things. 30, 30, 30. 30% year-over-year growth, 30% profit margin, 30% open time. Now, so for instance, some of you are running multi-million-dollar companies, and for you to grow 30% year over year could be tough. I get it. And so understand, at the heart of a jewel business is the woman's decision and choice about how she's going to grow her business, which is why we say 30% year over year growth until such time as the founder wants to accelerate or decelerate growth. But when you look at the majority of women-owned businesses, these are businesses that are doing $50, $100, $150, $200,000 in revenue. So at that level, 30% year-over-year growth is a very reasonable number. The problem is that, sometimes women entrepreneurs can be bombarded with promises of triple your business in 3 months. And so when you set unrealistic goals, there's a lot of evidence to suggest it's great to have a big, hairy, audacious vision for your company, but that shorter term goals are much more effective when they are realistic. Okay? So that's the jewel business. And one of the things I shared in episode 444 is, look, before we start talking about the milestones and so on, you have to understand the biggest mindset shift that needs to be in place in order to build that company. Okay? So you want to start with mindset before the milestones. So in the next 2 podcast episodes, I'm going to outline some of the core milestones, some of the key assets that you want to have in place in order to build a jewel business, right? A company that delivers cash, influence, and autonomy. I have a lot of colleagues who are working 80 hours a week. I do not want that, right? I like maybe a 40-hour work week. I like a good proportion of that time to be open and unscheduled. So I currently have 25% of my time is in delivery. 75% of my time is focused on growth, leading the company, and creation, like other stuff, right? That's how I like it. I feel that that's a beautiful way for me to live my life and grow my company right now. So when you're listening to this show, we are here for those of you who know that you want to contribute to your industry. You know you want to do beautiful work with excellence. You love people like Brené Brown. Do you think Brené Brown is spending 40 hours a week in delivery? No. She has got to be able to think, to plan, to come up with the conversations she's going to have, all that good stuff. Y'all know I love Brené. She's like my spirit mentor. But in order to, that's a jewel business. That's why, when you come and listen to this show and work with us, this is the type of business that we are interested in helping you guys build. And it's not just for women entrepreneurs. I feel that women entrepreneurs, think about it. 30% year-over-year growth, 30% profitability, 30% open time. Man, that is a civilized way to live. That means you have time to think, to consider, to reflect. Not too much time, right? But you've got time to think, consider, and reflect. You are growing not just for the sake of growth, but to generate profit that can be reinvested in things that are meaningful to you. It is not this mad rush for growth at all costs. This is about steady, sustainable growth. And I truly believe that if we as women entrepreneurs around the world could champion truly a new model of economic and business growth, we could be pioneers in not just writing letters to our governments, asking them to change how we do things, not just writing letters to big business, not just complaining and ranting about changes that we want to see, but being actual examples of how it is done. I can't do that by myself. I need help. So my contribution here is something that I'm skilled at, which is observing, naming, delineating, describing, helping people, taking this concept, creating it, and popularizing the concept, so that we can be examples of how sustainable growth is done. People talk about sustainable growth all the time, but they don't actually explain what that looks like. So we're all just kind of bandying around these terms that mean nothing. Well, I decided to put an end to that. That's what a jewel business is, and I need your help. Basically, I need your help in creating, for those of you who love this concept and really want to commit to it. And the reason, again, that it's so important is because I think we can be examples of this. Sometimes people will write to me and they'll be like, I know you're crazy busy. And I'm like, I'm not crazy busy, actually. I'm not at all. And I'm not kind of lollygagging around either. I have moved through my day with a lot of intention. I feel very productive, and I also feel rested and rejuvenated. And most importantly, I have the time and attention to be able to allocate resources effectively without waste. And if you looked around at our world, what would happen if all of our leaders were committed to allocating resources effectively and without waste? Dude, hello. Anyway, I honestly believe that women entrepreneurs are such an important force for change in this department and in this area. So that's why I'm devoting 4 whole episodes to the concept of a jewel business. And actually, it's not 4. It's probably going to be the next 400 episodes of this show because I think it's really powerful. But I digress. Let's talk about not just building a business, building a world. So this is the most important mindset shift. And this is really about you as an entrepreneur stepping into your power to build a business that is an authentic expression of you, your goals, and your values, right? That's what a jewel business is all about. It's about creating a company that offers you cash, influence, and autonomy. That's what's important. And in order to do that, we believe that building a business that accomplishes 30% growth, 30% profitability, and 30% open time is a beautiful model of growth for you to consider. And in order to do that, I think one of the most important mindset shifts is not, well, what's the industry standard? Well, what is that one over there doing? What are my customers going to say? All of these things it's not that they are not important, but it's the orientation from which you're looking at them. When you create your own world, I remember, Steve Jobs talking about wanting to make a dent in the universe. And, you'll hear about these really cool, powerful leaders who have like this reality distortion thing happening around them. And that is not something to make fun of. It's actually something that's really powerful, and it is actually a really smart orientation. Let me give you an example of some of this in business. Well, let's take Apple. Apple didn't just build a business, it built a world. So it's got its own gear. And if you want to, it's got these tremendous products. And if you want to take advantage of these tremendous products, if you want to live in Apple world, if you're an app maker and you want to live in Apple world, you've got to make a special app for the Apple Store, right? Apple isn't just a business, it's a world. Let's talk about a company that's in my neck of the woods. It's one of the biggest companies in the country. And one of the things that I always thought was so funny is that, so this company makes everyone pay 90 days, it makes everyone wait 90 days in order to get paid. So if you did a contract for this company and you finished that contract on February 1st, guess what? March, April, May, you're not getting paid till the end of May. And that is just how it rolls. And you can complain and they're like, fine, just don't come back, right? They pay in 90 days. That is, guess what? Because they didn't just build a business, they built a world. Now, what does that mean? This is a company that does billions in revenue. So by making people wait, let's say that it was $1 million, right? $1 million by making people wait 90 days. That means, I don't even know what that compound, but that could be close to, that could be well over, $50,000. It's probably more than that. I know you math people are gonna do better math than that. But if they had $1 million in payables, but they make everybody wait 90 days, that could add up to, let's say, $100,000 in cash that they had just from making people wait. And then that cash can be reinvested in growth. That's how you build one of the biggest businesses in the country, right? And they're like, look, we're good for it. And if you don't want to, live by these rules, we totally get it. You do not have to do business with us. But when you come and do business with us, this is our world. This is our law of gravity. And everybody on our planet obeys this law of gravity. And again, we're not keeping you here. You can 100% leave and take your company and your business elsewhere. We totally get it. but if you come and do business with us, we're going to make you wait. Okay? So that's an example, and you can get mad at it, but I am like, it's genius. That company is in its power. Then I think about one of my favorite marketers. He's this guy. He's sort of known as a curmudgeon. His name is Dan Kennedy. And I remember hearing this. If you want to, so here's the thing. A lot of brilliant people get sick and tired of people saying, wasting their time, emailing them for quick pieces of advice. Can I pick your brain? Da, 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 da. So you know what he does? If you want to contact him, no, he's not reading your social messages. He's sure as hell not responding to email. He won't even respond to a letter that you mailed him. You have got to send him a fax. It's 2021, my people. You've got to send Dan Kennedy a fax. Guess why? Because he lives on planet Dan. And he created his own law of gravity to deal effectively with the war for his attention. Is he rude? Look, he has a reputation for being a little bit curmudgeonly, but I will say I have yet to meet a curmudgeon who didn't inside themselves actually have a heart of gold for humanity. But Dan Kennedy, he created a law to preserve the battle for his attention. If you don't want to write to him, you don't have to write to him. Nobody is going to lose their life because they weren't able to get in touch with Dan Kennedy. But he's like, no, if you want to get in touch with me, you're going to send me a fax. That's just the way it is. But I don't have a fax machine. Guess what? Figure it out. And if you don't want to go through the trouble to figure it out, then why are you asking for his time? So see, and the other thing, of course, is that all of these are examples of guys. So that's why another great example of this whole don't build a business, build a world is a copywriter called Ben Settle that I love. But these are all examples of guys. And the difference, of course, for women is that we are raised to be kind, to be nurturing, to look after people, to make sure everybody feels good, not to rock the boat. And I have absolutely, I have had more opposition. I think when you start to create your planet and you start to have, you start to say, look, I'm not the lady in waiting in this planet, I'm the queen, not in a demeaning way, but just, if you've created the business, you got to lead it. Right. And I find a lot of you guys are waiting for someone to give you permission to step up and lead. And I get it. Sometimes you can get a little bit of clapback. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable standing in front of your colleagues and peers and really leading. And there are times when you need to be very collaborative. And there are also times when you need to say, no, do this now. Right? Like there's always going to be a mix of both. But I think it's really important for we as women to have conversations and say, it's okay to step up and lead, right? It's okay to not just build a business where you make everybody happy, but to create a world where you set the tone as well. Okay. Recently, I got tons of feedback on one of the emails that I sent out to my list about setting pre-boundaries with customers. And P.S., if you're not on my list, I think you should be. It's a really excellent list to be a part of. We have some of the top influencers actually in the women's entrepreneurship space are on the list because of the types of themes and conversations that we have over there. So just go to eleanorbeaton.com/join. So I've given some examples of building a world, not just a business. And I think the core difference is that when you build a business, it's a series of it's basically can be very transactional. When you build a world, that is what we as women do when we say, look, I'm creating this asset. I'm creating this business. It's my planet. I would love for you to come and be a part of it. And here are the rules that govern this planet. And I would love for you to come and visit. I'm going to take excellent care of you while you're here. And here are the rules that govern this planet. And if they don't work for you, that's totally okay. You are, we love you and you're more than welcome to go somewhere else. But these are the rules that govern our planet. Got it? Like this is a little bit, this getting into this energy and coming into this place where you are comfortable doing that, where you don't have to be aggressive, right? Like when I first started realizing that this was a thing that you can do, and in fact, until you do it, you're just going to be, you have no boundaries. This is all about boundaries, right? When I first started learning how to set boundaries, I wasn't comfortable yet doing it, and I actually was quite aggressive. And this is actually classic boundaries development, right? It's not unusual for people to be quite aggressive. Think about teenagers as they start individuating, like becoming their own person. They can be a little combative, a little bit aggressive. They're not used to setting boundaries yet. And so if you find that you've got that energy as you do that I get it. But understand, as you settle in, you are going to learn how to create a business that's a planet, how to be very clear about who comes into your planet and who doesn't, to be very clear about what are the laws that govern this planet, what works for us and what doesn't work for us, and that we can be that clear, we can be that intentional, and we can also be kind and compassionate and empathetic. Right? They go together. Super, super important. So many entrepreneurs, I think because we're not having these conversations. Look, I say we're not having these conversations, but over at Safi Media, in the coaching work that we do and the programs that we're doing and on my email list, we are having these conversations every single day. And this is the meat of the work. It's not just follow this formula and do X, Y, Z, right? Anybody can do that. But a business leader, a female founder, it is not just what you're doing, it's who you are being. And until we have very explicit conversations, because women, anyone who coaches women knows there's a lot going on implicitly, but it's so important for us to space we have explicit conversations and explicitly say, guess what? This is your business. You get to decide how you want it to be. And you get to clearly communicate with team members, with customers, with partners about here's what works for me, here's what doesn't work for me. Here are my expectations. That is not acceptable, right? That's what I'm talking about building a world, right? Apple says, look, if you're going to come on our platforms, you need to do it like this. You might like it, you might not like it, but that's how it is. The company I was talking about earlier, they are saying, if you want to be part of our multi-million-dollar supply chain, we would love for you to have the opportunity to bid. And guess what? We're paying you in 90 days. You might like it, you might not like it. That is entirely up to you. But this is our business, this is our world, and this is how it works in our world. This mindset shift alone is going to really shift how you show up in your business. I hope you can feel that. And I do coaching on this all the time in the Power Presence Position Business Accelerator, like almost every week, deep coaching with somebody in the group. And you can see the shift in how these women, that just the shift in energy that happens when you start looking at it like that and understanding it's okay, right? It's totally okay to call the shots. That doesn't mean you're dictatorial. And in fact, the clearer we are about boundaries, the more we are able to be generous. It's your business. Too many people are behaving like they're running their business like they're a minion in someone else's world versus the queen of their own domain. So it's will they like this? Are people going to accept this? Versus this is how it is, and I'm going to focus on communicating clearly. Okay, so example, I was doing a coaching session the other day. This one actually was in the incubator, which is our advanced coaching program for women entrepreneurs. And one of the clients there was saying, hey, Eleanor, how do I get customers to work with team members versus with me? And it's an excellent question. And, I could easily have gone to, you do X, Y, Z. And we did absolutely talk tactics 100%. But really my answer was, well, you decide that's the way it's going to be. You decide, you're the boss. You get to decide that that's the way it's going to be. And then from there, Then we move into tactics. But the problem is that's the difference between running a business and running a world. When you build a world, you understand that your decision has the force of gravity, right? Okay, I've thought about it and this is my decision versus let me see. Will people accept me if I say it this way? Are people going to be mad because I'm growing and I don't have time to do everything that I used to do? Of course, they're not going to want that. Nobody ever does. You're the brilliant person. They're always going to want you until you've educated them. No. That's not true. This planet is inhabited by incredible team members who are amazing and are going to blow your mind. Step one is to go and have a consult over here. Thank you. See what I'm saying? There's just a difference in energy, but you gotta believe it and you have to understand you're building a world, not just a business. It's time for you to step in and lead the business rather than waiting for people to give you permission. And here's the thing, nature abhors a vacuum. And as long as you haven't stepped into your power, as long as you are continuing to wait for other people to tell you what's acceptable, you're going to be a lady in waiting in your business rather than being the queen, right? So I wanted to give you a couple of practical things, all right, in terms of, I wanted to sort of give you the tenor of the difference in terms of just building a business versus building a world. And it's all about understanding, right, that the difference is when you're just building a business, it's like, is this acceptable? Will this work? Will they accept me? Will they like this? And when you're building a world, of course, you've done your market research. 100% you know your customers, but you are really creating the laws of gravity, right? You are saying, this is how we do business in my world. So you want to think through every world, every planet is governed by laws, the seasons, gravity, daylight. What are the laws in place in your company? I'll give you some examples. Like in my company, one of the laws is the law of sufficiency. I am enough. Our work is enough. Our customers are enough. What does this mean? When we function, the law of sufficiency is I am enough. So we're not racing for more. We're not constantly trying to find out where we're lacking. We are growing from a place of sufficiency. That is a law that governs our planet because when we are in that place, that's where we do our best work, and that's where we love the work that we do. That's the energy and the cadence from which we make great decisions. We are here to provide thought, partnership, and counsel. Sure as hell, we're not rushing around like chickens with our heads cut off. Our clients deserve so much better than that, you know? So the law of sufficiency, enough. Does this mean we don't have ambitious goals? Of course not. Does this mean that I don't want to make a dent in the universe? Absolutely not. Does this mean I'm all about moving slowly? No, not at all. Minions will make that distinction. Minions will think, oh, that means you're not ambitious. Oh, that means you're really not into growth. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Here's the thing. Amateurs are always rushing. Masters are never in a rush. I remember reading that. I don't know where it was. It was an expression shared by this amazing Japanese swordsman. And it reminded me of something my dad used to say, which was much haste, less speed. Hell no. Sufficiency. I have enough time. I have enough resources. I'm enough, right? And that's the energy. That's the relaxed, confident energy with which I am going to move through this world. And that energy is going to impact the business that I lead. That is the energy I want to have. That's how I want to show up. That's how I want our team and our company to move through this universe, right? The law of sufficiency. Another law in effect in Planet Safi is the law of 80-20. So we know it's focus, 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 right? We know that 20% of what people do generally yields 80% out of the output. So we know what are the critical things that are most important, and we focus most of our energy on that. Authenticity is another law. I'm here to build the business only I can build. This business will be an authentic expression of our desires, of our intentions, of our values. And guess what? I'm here to help other women build authentic businesses. So what does that mean? No cookie cutters. It means I'm not going to give you pat answers. It means I am going to do the hard work of supporting you to create the business only you can build, right? This is the harder way. People want cookie cutter. They say that they don't, but usually they do. But I will tell you, there is no satisfaction there, right? So I would rather that we focus on principles, we help you build assets, and we're here to make sure you build the company only you can build, because I have zero desire in having you sound like everybody else and having you use the exact same strategy everyone else is using. I mean, that appeals to some people, but not to our people, right? So, and then the law of the jewel business, of course, 30-30-30. So those are just some examples, right? Like I'm very clear about the laws that kind of bring order to Planet Safi Media. And so I invite you to start taking some time to think through not just building a business, but building a world. And we start by understanding the laws that that govern your planet, right? And so just kind of thinking through what's important to me, how do I want to show up in my business, what is acceptable, what won't I accept, what are my boundaries, how do we do our best work, what is our best work, how do we preserve that? You see what I'm saying? This is a deeper conversation than just go run Instagram ads, right? It's not, those things are important, but I'm talking about the foundational pieces that underlie your company. And when you don't have this stuff in place, it is so easy to be like a paper bag getting whipped around in the wind. These are the things that give your company roots. So, and it's also a huge part of the mental shift you need to make in order to build a jewel business. Because when you create a jewel business, what you are actually doing is be an example of a new model of business growth, a new model of entrepreneurial growth. That right now, we've got thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people writing off the businesses that the vast majority of women start, writing them off as lifestyle businesses, not in a flattering way, you guys. Now, on the one hand, I don't care what they say, but on the other hand, I think so often I have seen things that women do written off as frivolous, written off as not important. And when that happens, the great work of our lives, the work that so many women are doing to really champion actual change is just written off. So no, not on my watch. We're not having that. Nope. No, hell no. No, bye girl. Anyway, okay. That's what I have for you this episode. I really hope, my hope of hopes is that this has inspired you to think about not just building a business, but building a world, to think about the places where you may not be stepping into the power you have already created for yourself. Look, you created the business. Let's step up and lead it. To think through what are the boundaries and the laws of gravity that define your world. And as you can start to move into that place, it allows you to be able to show up really as a powerful, authentic leader who can be clear, who can have clear boundaries. You're not bending over backwards to please people, but you are able to show up strong, powerful, and generous and compassionate. And I know that's so important to so many of us. All right. So go back and listen to episode 444 if you haven't yet. It's What is a Jewel Business? And then the next 2 episodes, I will be outlining, we're getting more tactical, and I'm going to be outlining the core sort of milestones. So we talked about mindset today. Next week and the week after, we're talking about the core milestones that you want to have in place in your business in order to create a jewel company that allows for 30% growth, 30% profitability, and 30% open time. All right. So those assets, we'll be sharing those next week. And of course, guys, if you like what you are hearing here, understand that this isn't just coming out of nowhere. This is anchored in the coaching work that we begin in the Power Presence Position Business Accelerator. So I think it's really important that you understand our philosophy, that you understand our concepts of growth, that you understand the values that we hold. And one of the core values is CIA, cash, influence, and autonomy. We're here to build all three. It's really important that you understand that when you're in this world, right? And I can't wait to come visit you in your world. And I'm here with our team at Safi Media to help you do that through excellence in education and coaching. All right. So have a beautiful, beautiful week. Take care of yourself. Get some exercise, get some fresh air. I've been paying a little bit more attention to that. I actually got an Apple Watch and am finally getting my 10,000 steps. I'm going to be completely honest. I had a hilarious conversation with my trainer. I was like, I think I'm perimenopausal and I'm having a hormonal weight gain. And she's like, look, that could totally be it. How many steps do you take? Do you know how many steps you take a day? I'm like, what is this minion step counting business? Please. I'm sure it's hormonal weight gain. And she's like, well, you just might want to try it just to observe. Why don't you just try it, Eleanor? So I'm like, fine, Shauna. And I get it. And and wow, she had a point. I think honestly, 75% of the days in 2021, I was maybe getting 3,000 steps. Not anymore. 10,000 steps a day, girlfriend. That's me. All right. There's your little personal update for the day. We'll talk to you next week. Same bat time, same bat place. Talking about the milestones and assets involved in building a jewel company. Have a beautiful week, everyone. Bye-bye. If you love this show, then you will love even more my missives, i.e. my emails. If you're not on my email list yet, I strongly encourage you to sign up at eleanorbeaton.com/join. Now, when you go and sign up for my email list, you will quickly discover why some of the most popular, well-known, and influential voices in the world of women's entrepreneurship quietly, studiously, consistently open every single email I send out because they want to be inspired, they want to be entertained, and also I think they really want to connect with a woman like myself who's in full command of her voice and is willing to open up and share her thinking, her ideas, and her story. I promise you that on this email list, you are going to be entertained. You are going to hear really valuable tips about stepping into your power as a leader. And you're also going to get fun insight that I do not share anywhere else. Go to eleanorbeaton.com/join. And I promise you it will be the highlight of your inbox.